So the wipe is planned for the patch 0.15. We plan to release it in the early August.
The new Escape From Tarkov Wipe is coming any day now, so I wanted to provide players new and old a quick refresher on all the changes and controversy we saw throughout the current wipe. A lot has happened in Tarkov since the last wipe, which took place all the way back in December of 2023 with the release of patch 14, making this one of the longest wipes in Tarkov history. This video will serve as a recap of the wipe from December to now as we anticipate the new wipe with patch 15. I'll talk mainly about gameplay changes, as well as a bit on arena and general controversy. Arguably the biggest change at the onset of this wipe was the rework of the recoil system. Automatic weapons were made much more reasonable to spray accurately, which is something the community had been asking for a while. In the opinion of myself and many others, this change, combined with all the new content that's been added over the past couple years, made this wipe the most enjoyable in recent memory. We also saw a major overhaul of the armor system, with each armor type's protection more accurately reflecting its body coverage, as well as the addition of removable armor plates. This led to some weird mechanics, where you could die in one shot to your armpit, yet deal 0 damage on some shots to an enemy's chest if the plate absorbed them. This removable plate system also meant that some armors had built-in soft armor now that would serve as extra protection underneath plates or on areas that plates didn't cover. As a result, the specific coverage of armors and their class of underlying soft armor mattered a lot more. For example, armors like the Thor became pretty meta, whereas the previously sought-after Hex Grid and Slick offered suboptimal protection. Recently, BSG implemented a rework to this armor change, going back to larger armor hitboxes and plate protection, which is honestly a huge change. These new changes should make geared players harder to take down, and gunfights a bit more drawn out, as well as putting more value on good armors. As more players experience the new system at wipe, I'm sure a lot of tweaks to ammo and the armor system itself will be needed. For more details on the armor system, I recommend watching Airwing Marine's videos, as he thoroughly tests the new changes as they are released. Vaulting was added to the game, which uses arm stamina and makes getting over smaller obstacles smoother, which is a great quality of life change. Also, shoulder swapping of your weapon was added, making left-hand peaks closer in the meta to right-hand peaks, enabling you to expose less of your body than before when lean peeking to the left. BSG also reverted the requirement for items listed on the flea market to be found in raid, which is a massive economy change that will affect everyone who gets to the flea market. This makes it so that items you die with in your secure container, or even keys you used a few times, can be listed on the flea. We've had some time to see the effects of these changes this wipe, but it will be interesting to see how this increased supply affects early wipe with patch 15. As for map changes, a new map, Ground Zero, was added to the game, primarily for early game quests. This map is quite small, similar in aesthetic to Streets, and has separate lobbies for players above or below level 20. Streets of Tarkov saw a substantial expansion, though many players still struggle to get good FPS on it, myself included. Kalante was added as an additional boss on Streets, as well as on Ground Zero for level 20 plus lobbies only. If he gets close to you, he has an effect where your gun will malfunction, making him tricky to take out, aside from his powerful guards. Shoreline also saw a notable rework, with landmine and sniper zones replacing concrete walls on the edge of the map, more interesting terrain, a new cattle farm area, a car extract, and a permanent red rebel extract north of the resort. Lighting on interchange was brightened a bit, which many had asked for. The BTR tank was added to Streets and Woods, patrolling the map and offering the ability for PMCs to ride in it, pay for a taxi service to another part of the map, pay to transfer some loot to their stash, and even hire it to defend them while riding and after getting out of the tank. Seasonal weather was also added to Tarkov, with the beginning of patch 14 having snow for the first time. The seasons in-game follow the timing of real-world seasons. The Hall of Fame was added to the hideout, where you can store valuables and display enemy faction dog tags for a combat skill bonus. Achievements were also added to your profile, as well as the ability to view other players' profiles. Recently, a wishlist system was added as an in-game way to track which items you need for hideout upgrades, quests, etc. A small compensation in rubles was added if you reported a cheater who was indeed banned at a later date. We'll see if BSG expands on this system later. Some new Lightkeeper rewards were added with in-raid effects. And finally, a new trader, Ref, was added, unlockable by completing the early game quest Easy Money Part 1 from Skier. He sells gear for GP coins, and serves as a linking point between Tarkov and Tarkov Arena, BSG's new game. GP coins and other currency he accepts can be earned by completing challenges in Arena, and your trader rep with him can also be improved by playing Arena, which leads me to the next section. Patch 14 was released alongside Battlestate Games' side game, Tarkov Arena, which I have not touched personally, and honestly don't have much interest in playing. As I mentioned earlier, the new trader in the main game, Ref, at least somewhat requires you to play Arena in order to progress through his trader levels. BSG has also added ways to unlock special containers in Arena like items, weapons, and scav junk box cases, and then transfer them to the main game for use there. Arena hasn't been received by the community as well as I'm sure BSG had hoped, and has felt like sort of a distraction from the main game to me. I agree with some creators' sentiments that linking progression between the two games is kinda questionable, to say the least.
You buy EFT and you play the game. You pay for it up front, and then you get stuff in the game that you bought by playing another game that you also have to buy. That concept doesn't work in my brain. If it was a free to play.
Aside from the somewhat controversial release of Tarkov Arena, BSG also faced massive outrage from the community upon the release of the Unheard Edition, which came out shortly after the Edge of Darkness version was made unavailable for purchase. This new edition of the game gave players some paid progression, a unique knife, and access to the new PvE mode to play the full game in bot-only matches with no wipes. Originally, this PvE mode was not included for Edge of Darkness owners, which was the main complaint of myself and many others, since the EOD owners were promised any future DLCs to the game free of charge. Eventually, BSG caved to the community pressure and gave EOD owners free access to PvE mode, and also reduced many of the paid bonuses offered by the Unheard Edition. PvE and the Unheard Edition remain a hot topic in the community, and while some people are now fully boycotting the game as a result of the drama, many have gotten over their gripes as BSG walked back some of the controversial changes. However, this incident definitely had a negative impact on general trust between the player base and Battlestate Games as a company. PvE mode has become quite popular, and while the content itself is nice to have, I do have my doubts about its inclusion having a positive effect on the PvP side of the game's long-term health. Maybe that can be a topic for another video. In any case, it is a nice way for more casual players to experience the full game in a more chill, player-free, and therefore cheater-free environment. That just about sums up most of the changes and drama throughout the current Tarkov Wipe to get you caught up before patch 15's release this month. I definitely left out some changes in the interest of time, such as new weapons and minor tweaks, so I'll leave that up to you to investigate or find out by playing. I hope this helps both new and experienced players to be more up to date for the coming wipe, especially if you didn't play patch 14 very much. I'm working on another video to preview the expected changes in the coming wipe, so stay tuned for that. I'm also looking forward to the new wipe in general, and I'm excited to go ham documenting my progress on this channel. If you made it this far, it would mean a lot to me if you take the time to leave me your feedback on the video by giving it a like, a dislike, or a comment. Feel free to subscribe to my channel as well for more videos like this, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.